I'll flash it up once more here on the screen. Give it another plug. But this is a you're living it's very heavy what you do. I don't think there's any other way of saying it. You're in a heavy space dealing with heavy emotions, and this could be a very heavy book, but actually it's quite a light read. Surprisingly, I came away from it feeling calm and also inspired, and very inspired by some of the stories. I mean, you talk a lot about. Talk about the Grenfell disaster, which is obviously one of the biggest and avoidable tragedies of recent times. Yet in the face of such huge loss, there's some incredible stories have emerged within that community. I mean, tell me about what you've seen there firsthand.
And there's a danger that the stories get lost, but also the work that gets lost, and the public get to see this very brief plays to a certain amount of stereotypes kind of view of things, and then when you go back and forth to a response, you get to see how hard people are working, how hard they're putting in, and also the writing about Grenfell is a particular theme in the chapter on survivance, which is about coming back. This wonderful term from Indigenous Americans. It's not about coming back and recovering to a government script. It's about courage and defiance, rebellious emotions, and a lot of that gets kind of sandpapered out of the official story. And I don't think people always realize how much compliance is expected sometimes from communities. You will need to look sad here, you will need to do this here, and it's very comparable to our own experiences with crisis. People will sort of dictate how you're supposed to be. The number of times in either disaster or something like a maternity scandal, I get told there's some difficult mothers. You're not supposed to be a rebel in these situations. And I came to find this wonderful charity, the Latimer Community Art Therapy Charity, at the base of the Grenfell Tower. And it's been supporting children with both what seems to be a very successful form of art therapy, but also you can't do that sort of therapy on an empty stomach or without a chance to play or a chance to do sport. So it combines the two. And it was a really rebellious act to found it by a group of women, and they just deserve their place in the story. And sometimes, there's this sort of official need for how things should be organised. I suppose it comes back to the Sadmin point, and then what's really going on. And that's been a big part of my disaster experience. And I think that's really, really, really interesting for people to understand. And I just love the chance, as you get with publishing and writing, to bring these women to the fore, and they are my hope. And then the other thing that keeps me going is children in disaster. They don't respond in the way that people think they're going to do necessarily. You used the word before, heavy, and I think a lot of the kind of modern pathways of what they expect children to feel are very heavy, all about their trauma and all about their distress. And actually the children are very funny and very angry and very, they are the ones that ask the difficult questions. Children are not future adults. I make that very point in mind, but they're not waiting to be 18 to have views on the fire, and so they are amazing. You get things like the first time you give them cardboard boxes and toys again, you get them out the cupboard, they'll build a disaster assistance centre, and those were the stories that deserve to be told in all of this. And so it was just it was a chance, and there's one big shout out to the wonderful Stanley, who was he was sort of a toddler really at the time of the fire, and he's now in high school, and you just go, and his face is always smiling, and he's so cheeky, and he just keeps you going, and he gives you a purpose, because often with something as miserable and violently kind of state inflicted as Grenfell, it's hard to find where there are positives. So I'm so grateful to them, and I just wanted them to know that really in the book.